All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. We're going to talk about county captains this evening. And I have the benefit of being in reception of lots of emails from you folks. And I want to share some of those emails with you tonight as a way of illustrating what the role of county captains looks like. Because I'm sure different people have different ideas of what that would entail. And the best way is just to show you. So I'm going to open up here, share my screen. Whoop. 1 second here. Right. So let me just get this out of my way. Tom, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to start with an email that you shared and that you sent out. And I'll quickly go through it, and then I'm going to ask for you to add additional comments and your insights and thoughts, okay?
Okay.
Greetings to everyone. Please do me the favor of reading this email. The Titusville Right to Clean Water Amendment passed with an 82.6% vote approval. This speaks to the paramount concern that our citizens have over the right to clean water. Kudos to everyone who made this happen. I am now asking for your help on an equally significant challenge. Similar to the Titusville petition drive to get the right to clean water on the Titusville ballot, this will be a statewide effort to amend the state constitution. This amendment will create a fundamental, indefeasible right to clean and healthy water for all to drink. Here is the challenge for all of us, and as you will see, there is an urgency for all of us to unite to succeed in this effort. This March 1st, 2023, this petition drive will need to have collected about 250,000 statewide to surmount a required legal review by the courts. By November 2023, the effort will need to have collected about 1 million to place it on the ballot for the 2024 election. Titusville was instrumental in getting us prepared, especially here in Brevard. We know what to do, and here is an outline of how it is done for your review. Ask individuals in your tribe, family, friends, and coworkers to sign your petition. Also ask them to do the same with their tribe. Continue your outreach by asking members of your tribe and anyone that they approach to sign a petition, to think about getting further engaged. For individuals that would like to get engaged in this effort by working with other like-minded individuals, please contact me or other contacts they know. Training and others to work with are available. We need to organize locally with groups all over the state. So remember to think statewide as you identify members of this potential workforce of volunteers. How do we approach and engage others to ask them to sign a petition? Be polite, positive, cheery, smile, and start with eye contact and a good morning. Hello, how are you? As appropriate. Speak slowly to the person. Give your petition pitch. Here's an example. And as you practice, make it your own. I'm collecting petitions from registered Florida voters to amend the state constitution. The amendment would create a fundamental right to clean and healthy water. We need to collect 1 million petitions by November 2023 to place it on the ballot for 2024. Would you help us by signing a petition? Check the petition for completeness and readability. Thank the signer by their name. Thank the non-signer for their time. Move on. Do not badger, insist, or argue. Do not engage in political discussion. Just listen. This effort is not partisan. I'm collecting petitions from registered voters, Florida voters, to amend the state constitution. The amendment would create a fundamental right to clean and healthy water. We need to collect 1 million petitions by November 2023 to place it on the ballot for 2024. Would you help us by signing a petition? Check the petition for completeness and readability. Thank the signer by their name. Thank the non-signer for their time, and so on. If they are receptive and are completing a petition, you can call them, tell them of the urgency and how they can help as I have described above. I hope to see you at this week's meeting. That's tonight. Thank you. Thomas H. Perez. Okay, so Thomas, when did you send this out? Why did you think this was a good approach? Have you found it to be effective? what is your experience in a little bit more detail than just saying that you were integral in Titusville?
Right. Okay. Well, first of all, that last portion that you repeated twice, I hope I didn't put it in. But, you know, like you've made a point of stating several times before, this is an individual's approach. Okay. We did work doing this down here for over a year. And what I discovered was that the best approach is to just constantly reach out. It becomes almost like a mindset where you're taking petitions everywhere. Everybody you speak to, you actually speak to them, you know, have a good time, get to know new people, and in the process, engage them. And invariably what happens is eventually you start getting this call, you know, people just starting to connect. Okay. And they tell you, hey, you know, so-and-so, okay. They may want to get involved and the organization grows. For me, it was very rewarding when it got to that point because it was like, oh my God, this thing is rolling on its own, you know, and that's what I'm seeking to recreate. But, you know, this is not easy. For the first timer, this is hard. I never thought I'd be doing something like this. And if I can do it, anybody can do it, okay? But it did take me a lot of effort to say, hey, if I don't do it, it's not gonna get done, okay? So, you know, I got to that point and I, out of desperation, started reaching out to everybody. And that's how I discovered that, oh, wait a minute, this is the way you do this kind of work, especially when you have nothing else. It's good when you have events. If they're new events that you've never been at or done, a lot of times you discover kind of disappointingly, shoot, that did not work, okay? So you have to keep positive and keep going forward with this work. I'd like to answer questions if, you know, I'm sure there may be something that I can answer for somebody. Nope, okay. Yes.
I do have a question, actually.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm sorry, my name is Sierra, sir. Have we talked to like the Surfriders Foundation for the Florida chapters in regards to this, like helping with the volunteering ship, as far as having people on the grounds or boots in those counties, especially with like-minded people?
I think perhaps we have. I'm not 100% positive, but this highlights something that a county captain would do. It would make that, he or she would make that outreach.
Joe, I've made contact with Surfrider on a couple occasions and still hopeful that they're still looking at it and going to come on board.
Got it. Okay.
Sierra, so you know Jim DeRocha is one of our regional directors.
I'm nice to meet you, sir. I'm sorry. I wish I could see all you guys on a computer right now, but unfortunately I'm limited to my phone. Excuse me.
That's okay. No problems and no need to apologize. So I have a question for you, Thomas.
Yep.
As your initiative has grown, have you found it difficult to be the organizing factor?
Ooh.
No, not per se. What I have found difficult is that here in Titusville, my organization's literally burnt out. Okay. Last night we had our Monday evening meeting. And again, you're saying, where's everybody? You know, that long listed distribution list, unfortunately, you know, only a handful respond. So I gotta continue growing it. Okay, and that's another reason why you just keep reaching out, because everybody's got a life and things happen to them and they drop out or they come back. So it's like any other situation, especially when you're talking about volunteers. You got to appeal to them and, you know, hope that they'll be there.
Thank you. We are a grassroots organization here. It's a grassroots effort. But I'm going to take your comment about constantly reaching out as a good segue to move on to another county captain, unless anyone else has a question for Tom. And I can't see
I think
everybody. No?
Yeah, I can't. This is Cheryl. I was just going to say, it's not a question. I just wanted to say, great. Joe, can you forward this so that I can copy and paste it into some of the other documents that we're working on?
Yes, indeed.
Thank
Will do.
you.
Okay. So let me just reduce this again. So this is an effort to reach out. This is from Gene. He's our Collier County captain. And he's addressing this to an organization down in Collier County, Keep Collier Beautiful. My name is Eugene Werthoff. I am the Collier County captain for a petition drive to amend the Florida Constitution, give citizens the right to clean and healthy water. See attached an article that should be published in the microwave next month. Also a copy of the petition and 2 brochures that describe the program. I am seeking volunteers to help manage efforts in the different communities in this county. Please contact me if you have an interest in learning more. Please share this email with others you feel might be interested. So what is attached are information sheets, some things that Gene has written himself, which subsequently did get published. And here is a response. Dear Mr. Werthoff, thank you for reaching out to our organization to help us improve our quality of life on the Isles of Capri, as well as Marco Island and the surrounding communities. As you are aware, we are currently in a contentious fight with the Fiddler's Creek Beach and Yacht Club to stop them from building 3 massive high-rise condominium towers in the middle of a small business island. Terrible Storm Ian had taken a terrible toll on our islands, and it became an even more apparent reason for all of us to work together to protect and preserve our ocean water quality. We are in full support of your clean water petition drive, to place your initiative on the 2024 ballot as an amendment to the Florida Constitution. One of our committee members will be contacting you soon to coordinate your petition drive on the Isles of Capri. Thank you again for your support and your willingness to do something to help us win this important fight. ! Sincerely, SaveCapri.org. An outreach that obviously got concrete results and pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gene.
Yeah, well, what I did was I did a Google search to find organizations in the county that already exist that care about water quality. And I found Save Isle of Capri, and that's right next door to Marco, so they're like neighbors. But that produced a volunteer, somebody that's going to coordinate the Isle of Capri petition effort. So that was a win. And I'm reaching out to other organizations, existing organizations that have groups of people that they belong to them, to try to encourage these people to step up. And it's like getting the word out. So I think the key thing is to search your county and find out who these groups are. There's probably a dozen groups in each county that care about water quality, and that would be a natural fit. And what I'm going to try to do is get a leader in each of the communities of the county to support the petition drive and work that little community.
Okay, so I was just going to say, I see a structure building in Collier County where you are not doing all the legwork. You are going to present sub-captains to oversee smaller areas. They will report to you.
Yeah, and they would they would establish a petition location at the community center at Isle of Capri, and they would talk to their neighbors, etc. And they might even set up a table on weekends, but let them, that sucks up a lot of time. I can't set at 10 tables in the county, but I want to get 10 people to set at 10 tables in the county and work their little neighborhoods.
Got it. Excellent. I'm going to share this list of things that you have going. Send a letter to the editor to all news publications in the county. modified the 250-word version attached, and he included it in his email. And Gene did publish an LTE in numerous papers down here. Send an article plus the petition to all magazines in the county. Modify the 500-word version attached. He's making things easy. When he said an op-ed and the petition were going to be published in the Micah Wave, that is the Marco Islands Civic Association, I presume?
It is.
Yep.
That will reach 20,000 people. And it's a nice slick magazine. And on one of the pages, I'll have the 500-word article. And then the next page, which will be a tear out, will be a copy of the petition. So they'll tear that out. They'll have the petition, fill it out and send it in.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Could
I'm on the board of
this,
the Micah. That helps. But they are genuinely interested.
Yeah.
So you got to find out
Um,
what publications are out there and try to work with those publishers.
could we have like this to-do list put in email form and sent to like captains, because that right there is like a really gold nugget.
I'm collecting.
Sure. Well, I will just send you this PowerPoint. You'll have all this information. Is that good enough?
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Yep. Let's continue with Gene's list. Complete.
I've got a question for Gene, or actually a statement.
Sure, go ahead.
You made me think of something that had occurred to me, and just haven't gotten around to anything on this particular thought. Schools, colleges, student bodies, many of them have eco clubs. Okay, I think
Oh,
this
yeah.
approach would be a great one to try to engage some students to pick up the ball, not only in their campus, but a lot of times students commute to their campus from different areas of the city or whatever. So I'm just throwing that out because I think it's a venue that I haven't been able to tap because I don't have a college here in this town. But now that I'm in the bigger Brevard, I'll try to see who we can engage to do that. Right, Jim?
I can honestly say, as a younger person myself, I'm sorry to interrupt. I've worked personally with a lot of the Fridays for Futures organizations throughout the Florida area. This would be something that they would be very interested in helping with, especially with different campuses. And it's not just college campuses, but a lot of younger kids. I work with younger kids as well. Anyone from 5 and older is noticing what's happening within Florida, and they all want to help. So even if it's just kids talking to their parents about it, what they saw, and then the parents taking the initiative from that petition, that could also be another avenue of awareness that we could be spreading as well.
So Sierra, can you and I continue this conversation? And you
Yep.
can.
Sorry.
Yeah, that would be great. I can't get to the chat right now, and even if I could, you couldn't read it because you're on the phone. But I would share my email with you, and then we can pursue this. If you could be a point person making contact with
Fridays
the
for
Friday
Futures.
group, that would be great. That would be great.
I can
That's
definitely
very good.
send out some messages. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And Tom, this reminds me, I meant to ask before, because you spoke about people getting to events. Events that you had in mind, were they all of your making, or did you piggyback on already established events that were happening in Titusville?
Most of the events were already established. And of course, there's an issue, what type of event? Do you have to pay to get in? Are they amenable to petitions being collected? So these are all issues that come up. Hope that answered your question.
Okay, it did.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll also add that we have Maya Van Rossum coming down in January. She will be making stops at least two universities, 2 colleges. And so that will offer an opportunity to make some headway there. So I want.
Joe,
Yep.
Just real quick, I have an item for that Mel and I were working on. So I'd made a list of the main universities, like just sort of the major universities with links to their education clubs. And I think the idea is that rather than just saying, hey, everybody, go find your universities, let's make a list of them and let's assign accountability. So-and-so is going to work on this one. So-and-so is going to work on that one. There's a ton of environmental groups, and I think that's such a great idea. But if we can get a little bit more organized as opposed to just hoping that somebody's going to contact them, that way we can make sure we have coverage.
That would be absolutely great. You said we already have a list of the college environmental groups?
I put it in the supporters list. There's a new tab in there that's got the university accountability, and there's a place for names and status notes.
Okay. When we jump out of the PowerPoint, remind me and we'll go take a look at that. Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
All right. Let's continue on with some of Gene's ideas. Complete a Google search of the county. He already mentioned that. Go to your city webpage, see a list of the political action committees there, contact them. Contact the local fishing clubs. The Club on Marco has 600 members. Send the 500-word article and petition to the local power squadrons for publishing in their newsletters. Mention the need for volunteers in all communications. Establish a leader in each community in the county. When you get volunteers, establish a table team to go to all local farmers markets. Contact realtors in the county to see if they would serve as a petition location. Gene, any other comments about any of these things?
Well, I keep an extensive list of my tasks, and they're much more than I can do in any. I can't do them all, but I've got a big list of the tasks that I accumulate, and I try to knock one off every day. But I generally have more ideas in a day than I can do in a day, so.
Of course.
I try not to drive myself crazy.
Right. And it should be noted that these are things that one can do. It's not something that, a captain has to do. You can only do so much. So let's move on. And this is just one more from Gene.
Right.
The Marco Review is a nice, looks like it's a seasonal magazine that is put out. There is a guide like this in every little town and community up and down the coast. In it, we find the water community. These are the tourism businesses that have a vested interest in water quality. My plan is to send an informed email to each one of these businesses. This will describe right to clean water with the petition attached. Make volunteer opportunities known, request petition locations, one more arrow in our quiver. Another, go ahead.
So here on Marco, I've got the magazine in front of me, and I just picked it up this morning, and I was looking at it saying, gee, what can I learn there? I started seeing all of these businesses that depend on the water. This is actually the water community. So I think I'm going to send a bulk email to all of these little businesses for number one, let them be aware of what's going on, and number two, maybe offer to let them participate and see what happens. And generally, if you get 10% response, that'll be pretty good. But I bet there are at least 25 or 30 email addresses in this book alone. So it's just one more thing I'm going to do.
Terrific.
No, but that's a really good and awesome thread, especially, I haven't said this, but I'm from Monroe County down here in the Florida Keys. So I understand completely where he's coming from with how many businesses are not only directly, but indirectly affected by the water quality here in Florida that depend on it for their income.
I'm sure there's a Keys book just like this that's got all the businesses listed.
Oh, I'm going to look for it tomorrow while I'm out on my job sites.
So I would like to note something from my perspective here. The countless times I've been asked, so have you guys contacted this organization, that business? Did you think of them? Did you think of them? Most of the time, yes, we have. Have we contacted all of them? No, there's only so much time in the day. This is one of the reasons why we need county captains. we cannot, we have just not been big enough to do everything that could be done and should be done with the level of detail and oversight that you guys can provide and what we see being provided here. So I see your hand up, Mary Kay.
Thanks. So Jean, I'm thinking that it would be really cool if you could possibly, I don't like to recreate the wheel every single time, but if you have a 500-word article or something that you could
Oh, yeah.
somehow or another disseminate so that, if we can just cut and paste stuff, it's a whole lot
Absolutely.
easier
I sent
than,
that to Joe.
Yeah, I will forward it to you, Mary Kay.
yeah, I mean, and your ideas are incredible. They're great and time consuming. So there's like,
We using the pre-formatted
yeah,
articles is the way to go,
yeah.
and customize it for your own situation.
Yeah, or even, your email clusters that you think about, just your words are really good. Let's share them, make it easier.
Joe, did you say you were going to make this available to everybody?
I will make this PowerPoint available. I will make
No,
Jane's
the,
500-word op-ed available,
Yes.
although just, like he said, you're gonna have to
Customize
Tailor
it.
it.
customize it
course.
because there are a couple of paragraphs that are very specific to Marco Island.
Mhm.
So, okay, we're gonna move on. And since Mary Kay was just talking to us, I'm gonna share a little bit of Mary Kay. This is an email that she sent very recently.
Isn't today?
This morning, was it?
Yes,
Well, I jumped on it, Mary Kay.
you did.
You are receiving this email because you are one of the following: an ambassador for the right to clean water, a sponsor supporter for a new petition initiative in Lee County, or have expressed a willingness to help with getting petitions signed for the right to clean water. I hope to add folks to this communication as we get more volunteers. I am writing today to update everyone about our upcoming events and what is needed. Right now, we have the following confirmed: Cape Coral Art Festival, January 14th and 15th, Burrowing Owl Festival, Rotary Park, Cape Coral, February 25th. I'm going to interject here a moment and note that these are pre-established events. The Cape Coral Arts Festival attracts 100,000 people. The Burrowing Owl Festival attracts in the neighborhood of 6,000 to 7,000 over 6 hours. We are working on, but not yet confirmed, the Fort Myers Art Fest, February 3rd to the 5th. If you have other events that you know about that we should be at, hopefully with notice, please let me know. This communication will focus on where we are at with the Cape Coral Arts Festival. This festival is an excellent opportunity for us to get lots of signatures. Attendance at this festival is generally around 100,000. We have set a goal of getting 2,000 signatures in these 2 days. Ladies and gentlemen, do not underestimate Mary Kay. If she says 2,000 signatures, she's going to get 2,000 signatures. It takes about 3 minutes to get one petition signed. So if we want to meet our goal, we will need a lot of people to get the signatures. We will have a tent/booth. We want to have people circulate as well. Volunteers will need to wear their white shirts, and if you have any clipboards, please bring them. I need to get an idea of who can help, when they can help, and if they already have a t-shirt. If you do not have a t-shirt, I will need to know your size. I have scheduled 4-hour blocks for coverage, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. If you are with an organization and want to have some of your members participate, you can let me know there, and I can't see this because in a way, let's see. Their contact information, and I'll add them to communications, or you can forward the information to them and let me know how many will be able to assist. Please respond to this email stating name, day you can help, Saturday 14th or Sunday 15th, time you can be there, if you have a t-shirt, and if not, your size. Here's hoping that we can have a great showing for the Cape Coral Arts Festival and that we meet and exceed our goal. Every 4 hours helps. I look forward to hearing from you soon. I hope to see you at the art fair. Mary Kay. Mary Kay,
Yeah.
you are an organizational, I was going to say fiend over here, but you are super organized.
Mastermind.
Mastermind. Thank you. Thank you.
I just like goals.
You do like goals, yes. So farmers market recently. Oh, go ahead, Tom. You got a hand up?
Yeah, I unfortunately, I don't know how to put the hand up, the yellow hand, but a couple of things that come to mind. 4-hour blocks, okay, is a lot of time. And particularly when people are working alone or maybe with one other person and they're working feverishly, 2.5 hours to 3 hours for me was like max sometimes, just because you couldn't get the words out anymore. You were just talking and talking and talking kind of thing. And the other thing is you may exclude people if you say, if you make it too rigid as the 4 hours, make it open a little bit. Saying.
Yeah, I appreciate that. What happened when we did the farmer's market is, you have to understand that my goal is to probably have around 20 volunteers for the day.
Oh, great.
That's what I'm headed for, so that people can take breaks in the tent and people can get out. But I mean, if we don't have the volume, then it's going to be a real problem, because it has to have, in order to get the 2,000, we need 20. Where we get that 20 is going to be interesting. I'm hoping that some of the students at FGCU will come forward and that we'll be able to use them. But knowing that it's not just, like people are going to take breaks during this, and that, there's going to be camaraderie and all that other kind of stuff that'll happen. I mean, when we did the farmer's market, we did it with 5 and 6. And like there's certain things that work, like every person needs to have 2 clipboards, because if you approach a group of people, you need to have 2 so that you can hand one to each of them. And that it's going to take 3 minutes to talk them through. Oh, you only need your birthday. Yeah, you need to put your county in, sign there, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's like the understatement. So realistically, if we don't have 20, we're not going to make my goal. But I do have that goal. So we're working hard to get that. And so far, I think I have like one day there's about 5 already, and one day there's about 3. But I just sent this out this morning. So hopefully we'll see what happens.
I think you will end up with much more than that. I don't know if you're going to get 20, but you're going to get a lot more than 5. And since you keep on bringing up goals, I want to share another email here. Why can't I move? Here we go. Is that it? What's going on?
No, that's the same.
You're scaring me.
Yeah, I'm going to have to stop for a moment and then go back into it. Let's see.
While he's doing that, Mary Kay, I would have you consider more clipboards. I carried 4 to 6 by myself, because when you're at an event, okay, and especially if it's spread out and you've got all these people in front of you, you can easily get 4 people filling it out at the same time.
Yeah, actually I've had some discussions with some people, they wanted to make sure that there was going to be 2, whenever they went out, that there'd be 2 people, so that one person could be like the paper manager and one person could be like the gatherer type thing. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it's sort of like, because it gets cumbersome and difficult, and you want to make sure that you have enough, you just want to make it flow as fast as you can, because you got so many to do.
Whatever works. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, I'm having difficulties over here. I will work on that. In the meantime, Holly, you have a question or a comment?
Yes, and I think I had emailed you about this. I belong to several nonprofit organizations that I think will be willing to support this, but they ask me exactly what's involved. So I send them to the website. They also want to know what other organizations are participating. And the list that is on the website is not readable because it's in blue and black, and some of the sites or organizations are layered on top of others. So is that something that someone could fix?
You're talking about the graphic with all the logos?
No, I'm talking about the list of organizations that's below all the logos.
Wow, I hadn't noticed that. Yes, that certainly can be fixed.
Well, maybe it's just my computer, but if I try to print it out so I could take it to a board meeting, it's not readable. A few organizations are, but quite a few of them are not. And it would help if an organization can see that other, similar organizations are already on board.
It may be when it's printing, but when I look at it online, just so that you know, I don't see them overlapping. So it could be your
Okay.
browser. I don't know if you've looked at another one, but it lists it comes out quite clearly.
Okay, because it's in my browser, they're on top of each other and it prints out the same. So I can ask a friend or look at another browser. Thank you.
Joe, can I share for a second if that's helpful?
Let me give you sharing capabilities. You got it.
Okay. So just so you have a comfort level, can you see the screen?
Yep.
That looks just fine. And that's not what mine looks like at all.
And my understanding is that this is going away, right? And then we're moving it to this one, is that they will be using. Is that correct, Joe?
You may have fresher information than me on this one, Cheryl.
I think this was the idea was that were going to be broken down by the regions so that it would be easier for people to see the ones that were local. So anyway, this is.
Yes, and that would be helpful. And I did notice it says coming on December 1st, so.
Let me just go to, let's going to try this one more time. I think you're saying the correct one now.
Oh, geez, another one.
Yeah. I can't read it. For those of you who know me, you know that I work via goals. It is my hope that we get over 2,000 petitions signed at this event, so we need help. We need each of you to ask whatever organization you are part of to help with volunteers. Once you get people committed, let me know and I'll plug them into the master schedule. Please, please, please reach out and touch your fellow members and see if they can give us some time on these 2 days. Let's start now so that we can ensure we will be successful. We can do this and it will result in a great signature gathering event. We start planning now. So far, Kitty is contacting the Democratic Party. I'll contact Closer Waterkeeper. If you think of an organization that you can contact, please let me know after you contact them. Have a safe and wonderful holiday. Let's volunteers. So I wanted to share that with everybody because we see the very concrete outreach to organizations here in Lee County that are very important to us. And of course,
And 2 of the 5 are the Democrats and 3 are CWK. So.
Okay, terrific. So anybody have any questions for Mary Kay before we move on? Okay, then I'm going to throw a picture up here. There we go. And I'm going to hand things over to Jim to make some comments about county captains. Jim?
All right, I'm off mute, I think.
Yep, you're off mute.
Okay.
I think this is you in the right corner of here, isn't it, Jim?
Yeah, actually that was that's on the St. John's, and I got my flagpole on there, so we must have been in airboat territory. The one on the left is when I was completing my 310-mile journey.
Hmm.
So,
Up to St. John's.
on the St. John's. The one on the right, just to the left of me, I believe that's Lisa Reineman, the St. John's River Keeper that we went out paddling this day. That was several years earlier. So what I'm going to talk about is a bit of a dilemma and how we can release some of the pressure that we on the regional directors are feeling like we're on a stove here heating up. So there's, we asked for it. We volunteered for this job. So we're not asking for sympathy. We're just asking for help. So anyway, there's 6 directors and we've got a year to get this done. So, and of course, we need all of you, but I think we need a lot more structure. And that's where the idea of county captains came to me. Originally was that we have a gap. And so, each regional director has, out of their 67 counties, between 6 of us. So we each have between 8 and 19 counties. So if you think about that, it's millions of people in each region that we need to work with, contact, and get their signature on petitions. So, some of the regional directors have deputy directors, but not all. And then each of us has 1 or 2 or maybe 3 dozen ambassadors. Okay. But we have to expand that to hundreds of ambassadors for each county or for each region. So in order to do that, nobody can keep in contact with 200 to 300 people. And that's what we're going to need. Each regional director needs at least 200 ambassadors to work with. So that's, you could call it, that'd put us over the 1,000 mark. And I think that's the sweet spot. Okay. So we need 1,000 points of light. If you've heard that before, I think somebody else had used that several years ago, but you could call it drops of clarity. You could call it bricks in the wall. On the Frond board, we call it ambassadors for clean water. So the county captains can fill this void. Okay. And the void's huge. It's really not a void, it's a Grand Canyon, because between the regional directors and deputy directors and the ambassadors, we have this hole. And that's where the people that are stepping up right now to fill that void are going to be instrumental. If you want to bring up that next slide, Joe, that would be good.
Yep, I'll do that. I'll also say that I think you're the first person ever to group to George Bush Sr. with Pink Floyd.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking with bricks in the wall. Yeah, a very good album. So, I think a county captain's kind of like military sergeants. I was a sergeant in the Air National Guard after the Air Force, and the sergeants do most of the work. Well, the county captains are going to be doing a lot of this effort. So, they're going to be the people we really depend on. So these are some of the duties that I came up with on county captains. We would need 1, possibly 2 or 3 even in some of the counties. Like in Brevard County, I have 2 currently. That Tom, who was the first county captain in the state, and then Kathy that came on for the south side of Brevard County. So, and possibly we could add a 3rd one there, but it's very flexible, but I want to go through these really, really slowly. And when I say flexible, there's lots of different ways to do it. I was talking to one of the county captains today, future county captains, and she was mentioning that she wants to have a co-captain, okay? So that it all doesn't fall on one person. You know, and I think that's great. What's even better is that she's going to take the initiative to find her co-captain. So that really works good. And then, you know, we'll probably want at least one more in Orange County, because that's such a big county with so many people, that we'll probably want another one and maybe two in Orange County. So anyway, some of the duties here, report to and work with the regional or deputy director, storage and dispersal of blank petitions, cards, trifolds, signs, t-shirts, and other supplies locally to ambassadors. So Joe was telling me today earlier when we were on the phone that he spent quite a bit of time getting supplies ready and sending them out to one of the ambassadors. I'd rather have Joe working on another presentation or contacting some state agency than doing that. So that's where the county captains would be critical. It doesn't take a lot of storage space, but I'm using my whole dining room and part of my living room, but it doesn't have to be that way if you're just a county captain. So, you know, just a little room to store some of this stuff and then disperse it to the local ambassadors that you have. So receiving, perfecting, and turning in petitions to the local SOE offices. Everybody has an SOE office not too far from them. Receiving the petitions from the different ambassadors, perfecting them is something we can teach you if you don't know how. It's very easy. You just make sure everything's filled out. The number one thing is they put USA where the county is, and they'll put Florida where the zip code is. I don't know why, but they're usually in a hurry. So anyway, and then you turn them in with a cover letter, and we can supply you with the cover letters that go to the SOE offices. So fourth one, organizing and staffing local events and festivals to collect signatures. We've just heard a bunch about that from Jean and from Mary Kay. So that's a big part of the county captain organizational structure. And taking that away from the regional directors is really good. I spent a whole day Saturday arranging that in Brevard County. It would have been nice to have that taken care of, and I could have devoted my time to something else. But when comfortable, number 5, when comfortable, doing presentations, or more likely making first contact for the directors to do the presentations. You know, that's right now, that's our job, and it may stay that way. But if you had a small group of maybe a business that had, you know, 3 or 4 people, and they wanted somebody to come in and talk to it, and you felt comfortable, then the county captain could go in there and circulate some information, give them some stuff. If it's an organization, maybe the board you would present to, and then if it was going to go to the whole membership, maybe you'd call in your director and have them do the presentation. Contacting local businesses and organizations to become partners. This is really crucial. And you'd want to do that locally in your area, and then leave the big ones probably to the regional directors, that we would try to work on that more. That's something we haven't had enough time to work on because there's just so many of them. That's why we need the 1,000 ambassadors for clean water. So, and then we need to expand the petition locations where a business may have petitions that they have, people can come in and sign them there, and then pick up the blank ones so they can take them home with them and work on another area. And then promoting the campaign by acquiring additional ambassadors. So the easiest way to get an ambassador is when you're at some of these festivals or events. And, you know, when I find somebody that says, oh yeah, let me sign that, and then they thank me for letting them sign it, which happens a lot. I got that a lot on Saturday because it was kind of an environmental type basis on the festival. That's the time to say, hey, how would you like to join us and become an ambassador? And then I'll give them the trifold, or at least my card. And then, you know, try to get their name and contact information too. That's something I forget sometimes, and that's important. So that you can contact them, because maybe they're going to lose interest and maybe you can jive them up again. Okay. So anyway, so in closing, you know, there's one more thing that county captains could do, and that is writing the op-eds and letters to the editor. I think those are very important also, and that's something they can do with the help of their regional director. So, and it's probably always a good idea to have somebody proofread it anyway to make sure it's accurate and everything's in good shape. So, and then I know Cheryl is going to give you some background information on some of the toolkit that she blew my mind with today when we were on the phone. And, you know, that's going to make it easier. Every one of the things that I've heard tonight, this toolkit will make it easier to do each and every one of those things, as she can explain. So anyway, please give it some consideration. Anybody that's on the fence, or, you know, you can start with some of the stuff. You don't have to do everything on that list to start out with. You know, you can work yourself into it. One of my ambassadors that just decided to become a county captain today, she was concerned that, you know, she liked doing the first three, didn't want to do presentations, and the other three, she wanted to learn more and do it. So that's absolutely fine. I told her that's great. You know, let's get started, do what you're already doing, because she's already doing the first three. She's my person in Brevard that's turning them in, the petitions in now. So, you know, give it a try, and we'll work with you. There's going to be, between the toolkit, your regional directors, your deputy directors, you know, you're going to have plenty of support and help in doing this. So for that, I'll turn it over to Cheryl.
Thank you, Jim. So, hi everybody. I'm Cheryl Lass, or Cheryl Rogers, depending upon who I'm talking to. Most of the writing I do is for business in the past, so I use my maiden name, Cheryl Lass. And anyway, so I'm going to share my screen. You all have been, in all the comments and questions and chat messages, almost everything was the same questions I had. Where can I get this? Where can I find this? I don't want to have to do it again. How can I organize this? So I found that I'm a super organization procedure person. It's just how I'm wired. And so I wanted to get to the point where I had everything together. I didn't have to go look for it. I knew everything and I knew where to find it. So what I started doing, and Mel has done a fabulous job. She threw herself into this today because I've seen all of her notes going on throughout the day. We're creating basically this toolkit. It will be linked to the website, but essentially all these questions are basically being grouped together, right? So like collecting petition signatures. Well, what do you need to take out when you go? Like, you don't even think that that's a question until you realize, oh, wait, I'm getting ready to go. And if somebody's not organizing me, how do I know how many clipboards, how many petitions, you know, what do I need to bring with me? What do I need to say? And what kind of objections do I need to respond to? What would I say if somebody said this? So, for example, Thomas had given us a couple of things in the script. That's awesome. I'm going to update the script. I asked a question earlier because somebody sent me an objection by text message today, and I reached out to Joe and Mel and said, how do I respond to this? And Jim, and they, gave me the response. So that was my, I'm updating this document, and these should be sort of living, breathing documents so that as we get good ideas, they're centralized. Nobody has to reinvent the wheel. How do you organize report? How do you validate the petitions? How do you secure petition location? Everything from what you say, what do you do? And then I'm sending a bunch of emails just because that's sort of the thing that I can do to be more scale-based. And so just as an example, so I'll jump over to the email document. Everything is linked together. And so we're in the process of sort of building this out. And so as we talk about and think about how emails work, well, what's sort of the strategy if you're sending emails to people? And what kind of messages might you send? And then if you're sending to a celebrity, what's the message? So we're going to have like 6 messages that you can copy and paste, and then you'll still want to tailor a little bit that you could send out if there were some celebrity or person that you know. So the idea is that this toolkit is going to make it very easy for you to do that. So Jean, you had a 250 word and a 500 word document.
Right.
When I get that, as opposed to everybody having to get the attachment and then go find the attachment later, I'm going to copy that, and you'll see this is writing the letters to the editor, which is a to be created document. We're going to copy that in. And that way, everybody has a go-to place that says, here's my starting place. Anything that's really customized, like that's specific to Marco Island, we're going to kind of highlight that and put it in red font so that nobody copies and pastes it without realizing that they're supposed to be updating it. I got to tell you, it's really easy to do, especially if you're like used to, oh, I'm just going to grab this from over here. So you want to have those things. Just sort of, everybody's got it at the ready. One of the things that I heard that was great, the list of things to do, both from Jean and from Thomas, that's awesome. We're going to add to this a task list. Like, here's the things you need to go refresh yourself on. Have you contacted all of the publications in your area? And plan on doing that once a quarter, or like, again, we're hoping that we get through our March. They're not going to want you to put in something every month, probably, unless of course you're on the editorial board, Jean. But you're going to want to get in there and make a hit on a regular basis. How can you do that? You got to shift your message a little bit, but we'll create that task list and we'll put this in this centralized place. You have one place to go. You can make your own version of that task list. What can I do today? And it will be hyperlinked to all the source material. The other thing that was really important that I found that I needed was a materials list. So when I started to talk to, I went into my hairstylist for my regular hair appointment, right? And they see, let's say, 30 people a day. And she owns the shop, and I said, so would you, this is what I'm doing. And I said, would you sign my petition? And she goes, not only will I sign it, can I leave some at the front? Actually, can you give me some flyers and I can put them on all the stations so everybody who's sitting there getting their hair done or their nails done is looking at this petition or this like little flyer and asks us. They're sitting there for like somewhere between 30 minutes and an hour. They have plenty of time to sign these things. What an awesome time for you to take advantage of that. Well, it wouldn't have even occurred to me that a hairstylist and an esthetician who signed up today to be this is like an easy button, and the frequency and the number of people who flow through there. So but they said, what can you give me? We didn't have a poster for the wall, for the window, for, an education piece. So we've been, Mel and Joe and Jim and we've all been kind of creating these materials. So basically, here's a list of the basics. If you need some clipboards, here's a link. Or as Wendy had mentioned on an earlier call, you could just take a piece of poster board, cut it up, and use that as a makeshift clipboard. But clipboards are pretty cheap right now. Pens, envelopes, like how are you going to get organized? You need to separate the blank ones from the filled ones, from the reviewed ones, from the reported ones. That kind of logistics, like until you actually go to do it, you're not even thinking about how do you separate them so that you can move like assembly line and you can move them from place to place. I even give, like what I do for petition locations is I give them a blank envelope and a signed envelope. The blank one is full of a stack and the signed one is empty. And all I say is, I'm going to come back every couple of weeks. I'm going to pick up your signed envelopes. I pull them out. They have the blank one again, and then they fill them up again. So there's lots of different things that we've built in here just to kind of like make these materials, including some things that we're going to start printing. So I'm going to review these. Mel's reviewed them. Jim's seen them. I'm going to have Joe review them before we print them. But we've got things like table tent art that we're going to print so that when you want to do a petition location, again, they're only going to have a small amount of room. We'd love them to have a table and whatever, but if we're lucky, they'll have a place for a 5x7 sign to sit. And then let's cover the 3 things that they usually screw up, right? Let's make sure that they get those things. And then, you know, kind of have a 2-sided thing that's basically like, what can you do? And then we've got our QR code that takes them where they need to go. We've also got posters that, like, again, people said, I'll be happy to put something in the window. I said, well, okay, where can I go get that? Well, we didn't really have a poster for the window. So, okay, what can they put in their window that just says, ask to sign a petition? And if it's closed, they've got a QR code and they can go do it. But it's really, we're trying to make it so simple and so straightforward so that people don't have to ask a lot of questions. I'm lucky because I live in a town that's among the lakes. So if the lakes are polluted, our real estate is trash. Like everybody wants to protect the lakes. It's a given. And all the businesses want to. And for most of you who live on the coast, it's a given. Just like the Marco Island Flyer, everybody survives on the water. So this toolkit is hopefully designed to make it easy for us all to get this information without a million emails and a million PowerPoints and where do I go to get this? So if you have great ideas, please send them to Joe or Jim, but I'd like to be on somewhere on the copy. I will be more than happy to own the master template and keeping this current and refreshed so that everybody only has to go to one place and we're all not inundated with a whole bunch of emails and files that we have to go find.
So I'm going to interject a moment here, Cheryl. I'm going to say that they should not CC you on an email to me. They should CC me on an email to you.
Okay.
All right? That's the way this should
All
work.
good.
And I was also wondering what should be the focus of our Thursday night meeting. And I think if we can have this document completely ready by then, I think it would be very good to share with everybody, at all our ambassadors, at all different levels.
Yeah.
And if we can't get every single thing done, if we're close to it, that will be fine. So, you're going to be skiing on Thursday.
I'm actually going to be leaving on vacation, so I'm going to be gone and not able to attend on Thursday. However, there is enough of this material, like if you go to things like securing petition locations, you've got a very extensive 15-page document about what to say, what to contact. Most of these documents are completely fleshed out. Some of them, like the email messages, like the first one's done, but there's not a second, third, fourth, fifth. So there's enough for everybody to get started. I won't be here to present it, but hopefully Joe, Jim, or Mel, because Mel is actually the one, I basically finished it out and she's answering questions, filling things out. there should be enough in there that she can pick it up and run with it at the event. And then I will, anything people have that say, oh, you're missing this, great. Let me know. I am more than happy to update it, because ultimately this will help us all to be successful, to be able to share those ideas in real time.
Terrific. Thank you very much, Cheryl. We
You're
are
welcome.
at 11.
I
at
apologize.
7, Yep, no, we're at 7:11, folks. I think it's been a very informative, constructive, inspiring meeting. Thank you for being here. This is recorded. We will certainly share it with everybody. And I will get information to those people I said we would get them to. So,
Can I ask a question quick?
yep,
So what's the status on knowing how many each county has signed?
so there is a document. I'll share it with you through an email, but also we'll bring it up on Thursday night. There is a master list broken down by counties throughout the entire state.
No, I mean, how many have gone in? I saw the list of, on the website of how many you need to get 25%. What I'm wondering is, when's the contemporaneous one that says this is what your county has? Already, this is where you're at. This is how many you've got done.
It will be on that document.
Oh, okay,
Okay, if they're not there, they will be.
okay.
Okay, can't make it Thursday, a recording. Yes,
Thank you.
okay. Everybody, have a very, very nice evening. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks, Joe.
Yep, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.